I would say it was not designed like this. First of all, it is not a one-party democracy. It's a multi-party democracy. But it's a multi-party democracy in which one party is dominant. It did not start out like this. If you study the history of it, you will know that it started off with very rambunctious parties, very lively and intense politics. And it became like this through a series of accidents of history, as well as, the effort by the PAP in the early years to stretch out to become a national movement. And I think it has worked well for Singapore. You are now in this position where you have one party which is in a strong position, and you have other parties which are trying to make headway. Does it mean it will always be like that? I do not think so. I think it depends, first, on how well the PAP can perform, and secondly, on how well the opposition can convince people that they can do better than the government, or that the government is doing things wrong and you should stop the government from doing things which are no good. And there's no certainty in these things. One party is dominant as long as the population supports that party. And if the population supports that party and it's fine, I think that is good. If the population doesn't support that party, it will change. If the population supports the PAP and you say, well, I now will purposely cut back so that somebody else can grow bigger, I don't think that's a wise or even workable thing to do. Because you're trying, in a small country like Singapore, it's hard enough for us to build one team which will work well. And if I tell my ministers, okay, 3 of you, you leave the party, you go the other side, then we will play against each other. First of all, my team will be weaker. Secondly, I think the dynamics will change. And in the process, I think Singapore will be shortchanged. So my approach is we try our damnness to make this work well, to get good people to work for Singapore. And they have to be good people on both sides, in the government, in the leadership, but also in the opposition. You need honest and straight people who want to do good for the country. Are you Singaporean?
Yeah. I am.
What do you think? Open-ended question.
Okay. Well, because personally, I'm a supporter of an MMP system, mixed member proportional system, because it means that different parties have to work together. But it also means that the opposition has to be good, and you know of their standard.
Well, hey, there are many possible ways to design a system. Unfortunately, there is no way which is ideal, and there's no answer which is foolproof. And it's one of those situations where the more you have a safety net for the performer, the more dangerous the stunts the performer will do. Now, because there's no risk, right? So you push further. So I think there are pluses and minuses. I won't go and argue about proportional representation now. You can make an argument. We haven't gone that way. We had reasons for that. But I would say we make our system work and we adjust incrementally from what is working. For example, we've created NCMPs. Why? Because we wanted to have the advantages of a system where one party can be very strong and yet will never completely shut out the others. So we've got up to 9 NCMPs now. I think in the next election there'll be up to 12 NCMPs, and we hope they will make a contribution. So they're not shut out. I would say if you have 12 people, you are able to make a lot of noise if you have the right people, because then they'll be able to stand up, to hold the government to account, to make the argument and make an impact. And then in the next election, they will win more. If you don't have the right team, you can have 20, 30 because of proportional representation. It will not be of help. But 12 good men, I think it'll make a big difference. And the proof of that is the PAP, before it came into power, they had, I think, 3 seats in the Legislative Assembly. Mr. Lee Hsien Loong was one of them. Oh, I think the colonial government was fully held to account. Today, they don't have such a person in the opposition.